When dealing with our daily emotions that we all face, there can be positive outcomes we control. Is living abundantly really possible for all of us, no matter where we find ourselves today? Absolutely, unequivocally, yes is the answer. Now, here is the host of The Long Bearded Guy, the Chief Catalyst, Strategist Guide at JEWIL International, Gordon D Melville.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. You're with The Long Bearded Guy, Gordon D Melville. That's me on Inspired Choices Network. I want to get right into it today. The topic today is cracking the fear code, and I want to jump into it as quick as I can. There's a lot of stuff in this episode. There's a lot of stuff that I learned through this. So that's always the fun part of doing this. It's stuff that I'm sharing and I want to put out there, but it's stuff that I'm learning even as I go along and prepare to share it with you. I'm learning, so that's awesome. Two quick things. Happy Thanksgiving to the Canadians that are watching. That's Thanksgiving weekend. We got lots to be thankful and grateful for, so I want to pump that out there. The other thing, best wishes to my good brother and sponsor of the show, Austin Haynes, for his Flashpoint 4.0 is happening, starting for VIPs today. I think they're running the Rocky Steps today, so that'll be amazing. That will be such a cool thing. And then tomorrow and Sunday is the other 2 days, and you can still get free online virtual tickets. You can still get virtual VIP tickets. So if you're up for that or want to see that or be a part of that, let me know. I can connect you to Austin for that. Thank you for being here. Deep appreciation for people that are reaching out. It's still so humbling to have people reach out and in support and encouragement and likes and loves and shares and whatnot. And I really, really appreciate that. So, and keep that up, please. Find us on wherever you're going to find, you listen to podcasts and whatnot. We're on Apple TV and Google TV as ICN, as Inspired Choices Network. You can find that on anywhere you watch. So join us on those things. If you happen to get into the chat, if you're here live today, hop in the chat, say hi, tell me where you are and where you're from, where you're watching or listening from, I guess. And if you get in there, they will give you a link to jump into our live studio audience, so you can be on the screen. So let's get after it. There's like I said, lots to cover today. The topic cracking the fear code is the topic today, and fear is something that it affects everybody. I've always said fear isn't real. It's a construct our brain generates, is what I've always said. And I've learned some things studying and preparing for this show today. So I want to share those things. The skydiving story is something that I find it very interesting. And I've jumped out of a perfectly good plane that was going to land anyway, 288 times. And the last 2 times were halo jumps, so HALO, which is a high altitude, low opening, from 43,000 feet with oxygen strapped to me. And that was absolutely amazing. But I find it very interesting when they do studies about heart rate. And so when in relation to skydiving, and so the class you sit in the morning and they do in the afternoon, whenever you're taking the class, when they put heart monitors on those people, as they go through that class, they hear about stuff that could happen. They hear about things that might happen. They hear that, but as they listen to that, their heart rate goes up. And then they go out on the tarmac and their heart rate goes up. And then they get in the plane, and as the plane goes up, so does their heart rate goes up. And so as it goes up and up and up and up and up, the weirdest thing, and if you've ever skydived, I can tell you, if you're a newbie and you've never done that, or you're going to do that at some point, I would strongly encourage that. Lots of times it's on people's bucket list. It's an incredible experience. But the weirdest thing happens. You're usually on a tandem. Usually you're attached to somebody else. And they say, hey, we'll jump on 1. We'll count down from 3, 3, 2, and out you go. And they do that on purpose, because if they count to 1, people will put their hands and their feet on the inside of the plane and not let themselves go out. So they jump ahead of time. But the weirdest thing happens when they jump out of the plane. You would think their heart rate would skyrocket, because that's what the anxiety, that's what their heart rate's been doing. It's going up because they're scared. They're fearful of what could happen. not what is happening, what could happen. And then once they jump out of the plane, they realize what a rush that is and what an incredible experience it is. And their heart rate goes down. Their heart rate goes down when they actually jump out. So why was it going up and up and up? And it's going to go to the heart of what we're talking about today. It's a perception of what could happen. It's our emotions running away with themselves. And so we want to dig into that really, really deep today. And there's so much stuff. Like I said, I've got pages and pages and pages and pages of stuff that I'm like, wow, there was so much stuff. And it just kept coming and coming and coming. And I was learning so much. And I was like, you know what, how do I get this into this little 55-minute piece today? But I want to share as much of it as I can. I'm excited that you found us, and I'm excited for you to find us on our new Inspired Choices Network app that's on Apple TV and Google TV. Anywhere that you have a smart TV, search it, you can find it. We're on more than 450 platforms globally, all the big ones that you can think of. iHeartRadio and Roku and Amazon Fire and all these iconic, massive platforms. Find us. Binge distribution. We're all over the place. So find us, Inspired Choices Network, anywhere that you would watch and love, like, subscribe, jump on, share it with your friends, because we're trying to get the biggest reach as we can. People need to hear these things, and we want to share them with as many people as we can. So please, 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 if you're touched or inspired by what's going on, you like what you're hearing, share it with your friends. Share it in other places so that people can take advantage of it. All right. Yeah, just search Long Bearded Guy. I was lucky enough to get it on every platform there is, so you can connect with me on every social media platform. The Long Bearded Guy, but you search on any of those platforms for the Long Bearded Guy. And thank you to my producer Kim. She is a wonderful human being and has my back and hold my hand through all this. Broadcasting is a new deal for me, so it's wonderful to know that I've got support from Kim and from Christine and from the team at Inspired Choices. All right, so let's get after it. What's fear? By definition, I'm only going to read a little bit of this stuff today, but meanings as a noun. So fear as a noun: an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous or likely to cause pain or is a threat. That's as a noun. As a verb, be afraid of someone or something as likely to be dangerous, painful, or threatening. I find that interesting. It doesn't say in there anywhere that it's real. And we're going to talk about that in the next segment. It can cause physiological changes that may produce behavior reactions such as mounting an aggressive response or fleeing the threat. And we'll talk about that in the third segment today, as far as what those different responses could be, because there's SSDRs is what they call them, and we'll go into that. So that's the biggest piece of our what does it mean? What is fear? What does it really mean? It's not real in the sense that it's tangible. Danger is real, right? Buildings on fire, that's dangerous. It's real. Somebody's attacking you, that's dangerous. That's real. Fear on its own is not real. Fear on its own. Now, can it be used? Yes, it can be. Can it be a positive or negative? Yes, it can be. And again, we'll talk about that in another segment today. But the base, what is it by definition? There are so many definitions of what fear is. And so some of the things that people are afraid of, according to surveys, they say public speaking, it was the number one. I think it's second now to getting burned alive, which I don't really quite understand. But anyway, demons, ghosts, existence of evil powers, cockroaches, spiders, snakes, heights, water, enclosed spaces, tunnels, bridges, needles, social rejection, failure, examinations. There's so many things that people are fearful of. And so in terms of what it by definition, the thalamus can collect sensory data from the senses. So things you're picking up, and you're seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, all the different senses. The sensory cortex then receives that data from the thalamus and interprets it. And the sensory cortex organizes that information for dissemination to the hypothalamus. So that's where you get your fight or flight. And there's a whole whack of other words in here I can't even pronounce. But the fight or flight, fear, and memory are the things that keep running around, and we keep coming back to, that are affecting us. According to a scientist, for fear in general to make sense, 3 conditions must be met. Number 1, the object of fear needs to be something bad. 2, there needs to be a non-negligible chance that the bad state of affairs will happen. And number 3 is there needs to be some uncertainty about the bad state of affair. I find that very, very interesting, in the sense that, again, it says those are unpleasant emotions that are a response to perceiving or recognizing danger or threat. It's such an incredibly powerful emotion that stops so many people from doing the things they want to do because they're afraid they can't, or for some reason. So they say if it's a so fear of heights, or fear of war, if you're in a war zone, getting bombed or shot, or those fears are legitimate, in the sense that that's dangerous. Those are dangerous situations. So that fear is justified in those spaces. An illogical, so fear of I don't know, what was one of the other ones? Fear of going outside, fear of examinations, fear of, those are, we call them phobias. Why? Because they're illogical, right? There's no logic behind that. There's nothing that says, hey, you know what? I understand this is a tangible threat. This is a dangerous situation. It makes sense to be fearful. It's a phobia if it's not logical. It doesn't, there's no reason to feel that way. There's no reason to have that kind of fear. So again, those types of fears, right? We have lots of types of fears. You see fiction and mythology. So in a movie, you get scary movie, horror movies, you get manipulation. So a lot of times that's politics or cultural. They manipulate people. Religion, there's so fear in religion is sort of a fear of God or a reverence, right? There's that. But there's lots of ways to have, and types of fear. There's good fear and there's bad fear. There's logical fear and there's illogical fear. There's justified and not justified. So it's real or illogical, right? So this is such a huge topic. Like I said, there's so much information about fear, but I want to make sure we're all on the same page, understanding we can all step through fear. It doesn't need to paralyze us where we can't move forward. And that I want that to be the overwhelming concept and the overwhelming theme today. Yes, we want to talk about it, and there's lots of bits and pieces and lots of clinical information about fear and how it works and why it works and what the different bits and pieces, so that we can recognize and be aware of how that shows up in our lives. But I also want to make sure we're aware we can step through that. And people do every day, step through that fear and achieve the things they want to. And we're going to come back to that. I want to do a quick thing. Thank you so much to Christine McIver and Kim, my producer. I'm so deeply, deeply, deeply thankful for them and for what who they've been in my life, how they've showed up in my life, how they're authentically, they're just wonderful, wonderful human beings. If you're looking to do a podcast or a TV show or a live radio show, and you're not sure how that works, or it's scary because you're not sure how broadcasting works, reach out to me, reach out to them. They will hold your hand through it. They've helped me so much to get through. And so I want to make sure that I can't say enough good things about them. They're incredible, not just incredible broadcasters. They got a wealth of experience, a team of professional people that are incredible, can support and encourage you and help you get where you want to go. So if you want a show, by all means, reach out to me or reach out to them and let them know that the long bearded guy sent you, and they'll know who that is. So thank you so much to them. Don't forget, as we go into this commercial break, to pause and breathe and ground yourself and think about the different bits and pieces we were already talking about in terms of fear. What are your feelings about that? You're with the long bearded guy, Gordon D Melville, on Inspired Choices Network. We'll see you in a minute.
How much of our daily success relies on our mindset? Anything we are unaware of can still impact our lives. When dealing with our daily emotions that we all face, there can be positive outcomes we control. Why is the word stigma such a BS misnomer? Is living abundantly really possible for all of us, no matter where we find ourselves today? Join the long-bearded guy, Gordon D Melville. The Chief Catalyst Strategist Guide at JEWIL International invites you to an enlightening, sometimes shocking discussion. He will be challenging you to explore your own answers to these questions and so many more. This will lead you towards living an abundant, successful life no matter how you define it. Gordon D Melville is live Fridays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the long-bearded guy with Gordon D Melville. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also send an email to the long-bearded guy at gmail.com. Now back to the program.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Thank you for sticking with me. So we're talking about cracking the fear code, trying to understand why it stops us, trying to figure out what's the definition of it, what are the types of fear, are there positive or negatives to that, and then what could responses be. So responses to, and I mentioned SSDRs, so that's species specific defense reactions is what they're called. Species specific defense reactions are SSDRs. So there's 5 for humans, and specifically because it's a species specific. So I didn't realize that. Some cows and fish and other animals have different fear reactions. They have different things that happen. Some of them shoot out a pheromone that lets other animals around them that are like them know, hey, there's something scary here, right? There's danger. And they send out a pheromone. There's lots of different things that some of these animals do. So the ones for humans are the ones we've heard about are fight and flight, right? Fight or flight. So we either stand there and face it and deal with it right head on, or we run, right? Fight or flight. We can freeze. Some people, when they get scared and they're afraid, they stop and they don't move there because they don't know what to do. And sometimes that's good, and sometimes that's very, very bad. Fright and faint are responses that humans have. So some people get scared and they pass out, right? We've all experienced or watched people do that. Or maybe we do that. But those are the 5: fight, flight, freeze, fright, and faint are the human responses, species specific defense reactions. So, we're trying to defend because we're afraid, because we're scared or we're fearful. And those 5 things, can they be dealt with? Are they things we can step through? Yes, they are. Firemen can be afraid and will still step into that. We refer to that as courage. It's not the absence of fear. It's being afraid and doing it anyway. It's not absence of fear, because a lot of the situations they run into are dangerous. Those are, it's okay to be afraid. Those are scary. You're running into a burning building. You're trying to stop somebody from shooting a bunch of people. Those are scary, real danger situations. And so running into those spaces and helping people in those spaces is real, true courage, because you're facing that fear and doing it anyway. And we need to be able to do that. Face the fear and do it anyway. Face the fear. We may freeze initially, no problem. You freeze, you catch yourself for a second. Again, we go back to awareness in terms of understanding how our mind works. So I know when I get scared, I freeze, or when I get scared, I want to fight, I get aggressive, or when I'm scared, I faint. But I need to be aware of that. And once I'm aware of that, then I go back to the whole mastery of my mind and my emotion. Mastering our mind and emotion will help us be able to be courageous and step through and do the things that scare us. I want this to be, again, I want us to understand those things are still possible. And for most of us, all the things we desire in life, the best things for us, are all on the other side of that fear. Your hopes and dreams, the things that you want for your life, your vision for your life, your definite major purpose, are things that scare us. And if we freeze, we can't get there. If we faint, we're not conscious to get there. If we get aggressive and want to fight, we push back, we're going to hurt people around us. We're going to not do things that we need to do. So we master control of our mind and our emotions, so that when we get scared or we're in a fearful situation, we can still step forward and execute what it is we want. They say a graveyard is the most expensive real estate there is, because so many people went to their grave with their ideas and their thoughts and all this creative stuff, their music and art and all this stuff that never got pumped out there. Why? Because they were too scared. They couldn't step through their own fear to actually have abundance the way Papa wants us to have it. What if people say no? What are people going to think of me? What if they don't like it? What if it's not good? What if it doesn't freaking matter. Step through that. I used to say people, oh, they don't want to answer a phone in the call centers. They don't want to answer a phone. They don't want to pick up a phone. Why? Well, somebody is going to say no. Really? They're fearful of somebody saying no. I find that very interesting. You've never heard no before? We've all heard no before. And as far as I understand, if you're listening to this or watching it when it gets on TV, you're still alive. Check, do put your hand over your heart right here. You feel that bump, 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 bump. Yeah, that's your heartbeat. It means you're alive. You've heard no before and you're still here. Congratulations. It will not kill you. Other people's opinion don't freaking matter. They really don't. Colonel Sanders was almost 60. I think he was 60 before he started. And he heard no more than 1,000 times. You want to support my chicken? Nope. Oh, okay. Next. You want to support my chicken? Nope. Oh, okay. Next. He heard no more than 1,000 times and kept going. Do you think he's glad he did now? Well, he's gone now. So he's got ultimate freedom now. But you know what? When he's thankful that he did. He was thankful he did. Why? Because it gave him a lifestyle and it gave him a legacy that's still here. He's gone and his chicken's still here. You want legacy in your life? You want legacy for what's going on, where you want to end up, what your vision is for your life? You need to step through the fear. You need to be able to be afraid and do it anyway. Be afraid, do it anyway, over and over and over. You only truly fail when you stop trying. There is no failure if you keep trying. Did he fail more than 1,000 times? No. He was successful. Why? Because he kept trying. He kept stepping through that fear. I know insurance agents that have been in the business 25 years that they're wildly successful, multi-millionaires that still throw up in the bushes at the front of the house when they're going in to do a meeting. Why? Because they're so anxious about it all. But they do it anyway. They do it anyway. Managing our fear. How do we manage our fear? Some people will use pharmaceutical, and there are ways to do that. Psychological things. There's you can go see a counselor for phobias and whatnot. You can go see someone that can help you lose your phobia of snakes or spiders or needles or whatnot. There are ways to do that. There's literary and religious ways to manage your fear. And the literary one is the one that sort of really jumped out at me. I found it very interesting. Treating our coping strategies and methods under literary and religious. So religious is kind of an obvious one, right? Pray about it, meditate, talk to Papa. There's ways. I mean, that's a fairly common way to manage and handle stress and fear, right? When a plane's going down, people are all praying, right? They say there's no atheist in a foxhole, right? Everybody's praying to God. So that's a strategy. But the one that caught my attention here was writing down rational thoughts about our fear. Writing down rational thoughts, writing them down so that it takes the power out of the fear. And this jumped out at me. Journaling. I was like, what? We tell people all the time there's so many benefits of journaling. Journaling is a healthy method of expressing fear. I was like, wow. Journaling will help express. Why? Because you're getting it out on the page. It's not inside you then. You're getting it on the page. The more you can talk about it and see it, and it becomes less, well, it may look more real. It has less and less and less power as you write it out. So again, a management of it, finding certainty on topics, right? I used to, and my wife would laugh at me, but not a horror genre type person when it comes to movies. Huge movie buff. But horror has not been my thing. As soon as things came out on DVD and Blu-ray, I'll watch horror now. But a lot of times, what I do before I watch the movie, I'll watch the outtakes, or I'll watch how they did that, or I'll watch the gag reel, right? Because it takes the scary out of it. I know how they did that. I understand now where that gag was. It makes me laugh. So they screwed up the scene when I'm watching the movie where it's supposed to be really scary. I'm like, oh yeah, that was in the gag reel. It takes all the fear out of it. Why? Because I have found a way to create certainty on the topic. And you know what? For fear, lots of people are afraid of things like dying. They're afraid of what's on the other side of that. Uncertainty. And people can be certain about where they're going. They can be. You can be. It takes some discussions. It takes some conversations. It takes some faith. But we can be certain about some of those things. Anyway, so that's those 5 responses. Fight, flight, freeze, fright, and faint responses to fear. Being able to control and manage our fear. Understand how our mind works, be aware, and then master control of our emotion and our mind so that we can step through that. The good things is that we can use that fear to harness, and we'll talk about that in the next segment. How that works. How do we can it be a positive thing? For sure it can. But only if we use it. Only if we're aware and can actually use it. Can it be positive? Yes, it can. But we need to manage it. Very exciting. I learned a ton. There are pages and pages and pages of stuff that I could share. There was so much stuff. And I even modified my own thought process in terms of what fear is about and how it will affect. So even I find that very interesting. We just keep learning, we keep expanding, we keep growing with intention, and then we share that with each other so that we can all grow. As we go into this next break, I want to do a couple quick shout outs. The first one's to Jose Escobar, my brother, and he's one of my founding sponsor partners for the show, but he's the founder and CEO of the Entrepreneur's Bookshelf. Check out the Entrepreneur's Bookshelf to learn more about the morning and evening routine mastery program that's changing people's lives. Absolutely incredible. You want to level up, multiple levels up. You want more consistency. You want to achieve more in your life. You need to have bookend your day. And that's what he's talking about here. The program will help you install systems on the bookends of your day, morning and evening, to maximize your morning and evening routine. Set up a free strategy session with Jose Escobar today, and you can reach him at www.theentrepreneursbookshelf.com. And the second one is to Kat Schwarz. She's the owner and founder of Compassionate Healing Services. And my sponsor, Kat Schwarz, is the founder and CEO of the groundbreaking company called Compassionate Healing Services, and offers a completely unique approach to treating physical and mental health challenges. Check her out on Instagram at Compassionate Healing Services, or email her at info@compassionatehealingservices.com. Both of these humans are incredible human beings. They're heart-centric. They're from the front servant leaders. If you know what that's about, and I think a lot of us do, and they're like that. Both of them, Jose and Kat, are like that, servant leaders, and they're there to help. So reach out to them at www.theentrepreneursbookshelf.com, and for Kat at Compassionate Healing Services on Instagram, or emailing her at info@compassionatehealingservices.com. Thank you so much to them. As we go to the break, don't forget, pause and breathe. Don't forget, ground yourself. Pause and breathe. When you get scared, you're fearful, pause and breathe. It'll help ground you. You're with the long-bearded guy, Gordon D Melville, on Inspired Choices Network. Stick around. Be right back.
How much of our daily success relies on our mindset? Anything we are unaware of can still impact our lives. When dealing with our daily emotions that we all face, there can be positive outcomes we control. Why is the word stigma such a BS misnomer? Is living abundantly really possible for all of us, no matter where we find ourselves today? Join the long-bearded guy, Gordon D Melville. The Chief Catalyst Strategist Guide at JEWIL International invites you to an enlightening, sometimes shocking discussion. He will be challenging you to explore your own answers to these questions and so many more. This will lead you towards living an abundant, successful life, no matter how you define it. Gordon D Melville is live Fridays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the long-bearded guy with Gordon D Melville. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. Now back to the program.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Thank you for sticking with. Really appreciate that. So we're talking about cracking the fear code if you're just joining us. So we talked about the definitions. We talked about the types of fear. We've talked about the 5 responses, human responses, the SSDRs, the species-specific defense reactions for humans. We talked about how to manage some of that fear and understanding that it's an awareness thing. It's understanding how our mind works and then mastering control of our mind and our emotion. So we want to talk just real quick about real and imagine. Is fear real or is it imagined? We've touched on that a couple times today. Is it real? It can be. Danger's real. Fear is not. Fear can be logical or illogical. So if it's fear of something that's about to happen, you're about to have a car accident. There's the house is on fire. There's all these things. Those are real fears, right? That's legitimate. That's scary because it's dangerous. So we have a different view of that. When it's illogical, why would you have a fear of small spaces? Why would you have a fear of and they're phobias, right? And lots of people, lots of us have fears that are irrational. Heights. Why would we be afraid of being up? I don't know. Why do people do that? Why do clearly I solved that with skydiving and bungee jumping and whatnot. But why do it's a phobia then? Why? Because it's illogical. It's not real. But it stops us anyway. Logical, illogical still stops us. It paralyzes us from being able to move forward. We freeze in that moment, right? Well, again, we go back to the reactions. What do? We get aggressive and we lash out. Why? Because we're scared. We're trying to protect ourselves, right? That's a primal thing. I was reading in some of the stuff that's primal, like primal, like caveman primal. It's a protection thing. We're trying to protect ourselves. That's why we get aggressive sometimes when we're scared. We want to be able to control that. Real or imagined? The answer is yes. It is. It can be both, right? And either way that goes, it's still something that can be harnessed and used. For the next piece are there positive uses of fear? For sure there are. What could be a positive use of fear? I like to be interactive. This is very difficult to be interactive when I'm looking at the camera. I'm not sure who's listening, watching, and whatnot. What could positive uses of fear be? Athletes use fear in a positive way because it holds on to them. They're scared. Hey, I got to go out and perform. Actors, actresses, live theater, right? Athletes will do it in a competition. They're afraid. They do it anyway. They use that as our water boy friend would have said, tackle and fuel. They're using that fear as fuel to push them forward, to keep them alert. It's the way we look at it, though. I remember hearing a story about a very famous, and I don't remember his name, so I don't want to use it. But they had asked him, and they'd asked somebody else. They asked lots of people, but these 2 people in particular, the one person said, well, when I get up to perform, if I'm fearful, my hands get sweaty and I get this weird, I want butterflies in my stomach and I want to throw up, I'm nauseous, and that tells me, hey, you know what, maybe I'm not ready. I'm fearful, maybe I'm not ready. My palms are sweaty and I'm nervous and I've got butterflies and I want to throw up. I'm not ready. And this iconic musician, when they said to him, oh, your palms are sweaty, he goes, yeah, my palms are sweaty, I get butterflies and I want to throw up. I'm absolutely set. I'm perfectly ready to go. Everything is exactly what it's supposed to be. And I find that interesting. It's just how you're reading the signs. How are we reacting and responding? We shouldn't be reacting. We should be responding to the situation. We can only do that if we can control our emotion. Positive uses for fear. And I'm sure we've all experienced that, where there was a situation and we're scared. Public speaking is a great example. When my partner, my co-owner with Mondays, Don and I, we would watch people get up on stage. They'd never been on a stage in front of people before. Some of them had been lots of times, but some of them had never, ever, ever shared their story. They'd never, ever shared a story or talked on stage before. And when they're going up, they're holding the mic. And by the time they finished after 10 minutes, they were empowered. That was awesome. Wicked. That was so cool. Why? Because it built their confidence. When they stepped through that fear, it builds confidence. Then you know you can do it again and again and again. And the next thing you know, and you know what? People say, well, you know what? I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can. I'm fearful. I can guarantee you 100% you will get through whatever the next fear is. How do I guarantee that? You've always gotten through it before. You're still here. You've been through fear thousands of times in your life, and you're still here. You will survive. Be fearful. Fear is okay. It's an emotion we can use, but harness it. It's like these things. Do you use it as a tool, or does it use you? Social media. Do you use it, or does it use you? Fear. Do you use it to push you forward and expand yourself and to grow intentionally? Are you comfortable being uncomfortable? Being afraid and doing it anyway. We need to be able to get to a point where we can do that. Why? Because, like I said, all the things we want are on the other side of that fear. If it's easy, that doesn't stimulate us. Most of us don't get smart goals. Freak me out, and I get really frustrated with. I'm a huge goals person, but the R is realistic. It's bullshit. Realistic, my ass. Realistic does not inspire me to get out of bed in the morning. It does not inspire me when I'm going, why am I pushing so hard through this? Why am I sacrificing? Why am I doing all this stuff for a realistic goal? Are you kidding me? If I'm going to put it out there and I'm going to step through that fear and I'm going to be courageous and I'm going to do things I've not done before, there better be a payoff at the end. In some way, and I'm not talking dollars and cents, I'm talking it's building my character, it's building my confidence. There has to be something that pushes me forward. Realistic. I don't want realistic. We're in a society anymore that glorifies and celebrates mediocrity. Why? Nobody wants to deal with their fear. Nobody wants to step through into the muck and get dirty. They want the results, but they don't want the work it takes to get there. The sacrifice and the blood, sweat, and tears. They want to be, well, not at the moment they wouldn't want to be Kobe Bryant, but they want to be these hugely affluent, incredibly skilled. Well, what you're not seeing is the thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of boring shit that they had to do so that they were at that level. The best of any sport, the best of any business, the most incredible hockey player, the most incredible basketball player, the best on the planet, no one's ever heard of because they were too scared or not disciplined enough to step through their fear and grab a hold of it. I will say that again. The best at whatever is someone we don't know because they were too scared and undisciplined to get to where they wanted to go. We want to get ahead. We better step through the fear. We want the things in life that abundance. We want those things. Go get them. Step through the fear. You will live through that. And people's opinions at the end of the day don't mean less than nothing, literally. What if they don't like what? It doesn't matter. Do it anyway. You're not doing it for them. Your journey is for you, not for them. Step through your fear. I challenge you, step through your fear. Go get it. Don't sit back and have regrets. Don't sit back and go, oh, I wish I had. People on the deathbed do not go, well, you know what? Their biggest regret is things they didn't do, not things they did do. Things they didn't do. Why? Because they were scared. They were worried about what other people will think of them. Just do it. Step through the fear. We need to take another quick break. I want to reach out again to these two quick sponsors. Kat Schwarz, my sponsor Kat is the founder and CEO of the groundbreaking company called Compassionate Healing Services. And if you email her at info@compassionatehealingservices.com and mention the long bearded guy, you'll receive 20% off one service. That's a whopping $100 savings off Kat's most unique offering, which is spiritual private investigation services. Kat will use her skills as an evidential medium to reconnect you with a loved one who crossed over and will provide proof of their continued presence in your life. Email her at info@compassionatehealingservices.com. And incredible. Don't forget to mention the long bearded guy. And then my other brother, Jose Escobar, the founder and CEO of the Entrepreneur's Bookshelf. But check out the Connected Leaders Academy membership to take your business to the next level. This is the perfect tribe to learn, grow, and connect like never before. The Connected Leaders Academy tribe brings together some of the highest level entrepreneurs from all over the world. Set up a virtual coffee with Jose Escobar today. And again, you can reach him at www.theentrepreneursbookshelf.com. The Connected Leaders Academy is an incredible, absolutely incredible group of entrepreneurs and high level. When I started into that, I've always believed if I'm the most successful, most accomplished person in the room, I'm probably in the wrong room to grow. When I walked into that room, I went back to Jose and said, Jose, I'm not sure I'm qualified to be in this room based on who is in the room. Incredible. You want to, they say there is proximity to greatness will raise you up. Proximity to greatness will raise you. You want to rise? You want to take it to another level, not just one, but a dozen levels? Connect yourself to people that are like that. Connect yourself to a group, a mastermind like this, like the Connected Leaders Academy. Stick with me. We got another quick session, another quick segment on you're with the long bearded guy, Gordon D Melville on Inspired Choices Network. Don't go anywhere. Be right here when you get back.
How much of our daily success relies on our mindset? Anything we are unaware of can still impact our lives. When dealing with our daily emotions that we all face, there can be positive outcomes we control. Why is the word stigma such a BS misnomer? Is living abundantly really possible for all of us, no matter where we find ourselves today? Join the long-bearded guy, Gordon D Melville. The Chief Catalyst Strategist Guide at JEWIL International invites you to an enlightening, sometimes shocking discussion. He will be challenging you to explore your own answers to these questions and so many more. This will lead you towards living an abundant, successful life no matter how you define it. Gordon D Melville is live Fridays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. This is the Long-Bearded Guy with Gordon D Melville. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. Now back to the program.
Hey everybody, thank you for sticking with. Thank you for coming back. As we wrap up here, our time together, the hour goes so quick. It freaks me out that it's so fast. But I want as we wrap up, I want to challenge you. What do you do with your fear? What are your fears? You ever thought about, hey, sitting down and writing down in your journal, hey, what am I really afraid of? What are the things that I'm fearful of. And then what do I do with that fear? What types of things scare me? And then setting up something that for yourself so that you have certainty about those things. Writing that stuff in your journal. I've said it a couple times already, and I want to say it again. All the greatest things in your life that you want for your life, for your vision, to achieve your definite major purpose, are on the other side of that fear. Don't be scared. Fear is a construct, illusion, and an emotion that we have in our mind that we can either be rational or irrational about. We can either allow it to stop us, freeze us in our tracks, stop us from achieving the things we want to achieve, or we can harness it as fuel to push us and move us forward. I challenge you, use it as fuel to move you forward. Don't let it rob you of the special things, the achievements you want, the places you want to go, the things you want to do. Don't let it stop you. Go get it. Go get it. If this message resonates with you, I've got 2 spots open for, they call it a native host. So what I do with Jose and Kat, I've got 2 spots open for that. If you're up for that, reach out at thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com, and we can talk about that. I can send you packages. There's a couple different ways to do that. I want to, please reach out. We're trying to connect, like, love, share, connect. Find ICN, find Inspired Choices Network on your smart TVs. Find it on your podcast platforms. We sent out a thing. I was on Spotify. We are on Spotify, and I sent out a meme that showed, hey, find us on Spotify. And I had people reach back and go, oh my, I had no idea you were on Spotify. I'm like, yes, more than 450 platforms globally. Anywhere you would think to look for your regular, any of your podcasts, any of your live radio platforms or TV platforms, more than 300 TV platforms we're on globally. So we'll be on one close to where you are. Find us and then share it. Not just mine. There's the network has several dozen amazing hosts with incredible content, impactful, positive stuff that is helpful, that helps move all of us forward. Find them on Inspired Choices Network. Check with us. Check back in next week on Friday. That's the October 14th. And we're going to be talking about giving what cannot be taken. Giving what cannot be taken. We'll look into that more next week. That's at noon Eastern Standard Time, between 12 and 1 Eastern Standard Time. And again, get into the chat when you show up into the live radio show. Get into the chat, and you can get into the live studio audience. We want you here. I want the message to go out. My mission is to have a meaningful connection with more than 10 million men globally in the next 24 months with a message of hope that says there are positive ways to deal with the emotions and the things that we feel every day, so that it's not outside the box thinking. It's just eradicate the box, burn the box. There is no box. Tools and strategies to be able to deal with. And that's what we've been trying to provide. Tools and strategies to be able to help people deal with their life, to move forward in their life, to raise themselves up in their life, to raise their vibration, to have more information about who they are and why they are and what their worth and their value is. That's a huge deal. What's your worth and value? Because if it's not where it belongs, you're going to struggle. What's our foundation? We've talked about that all over the place. So join us next week, October 14th, giving what cannot be taken. Make it another great week. I love you. Massive hugs. Live abundantly with intention. And for my Canadian friends, happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the holiday weekend. We'll see you all next week. Love you.
Thank you for tuning into the Long Bearded Guy Show. You are appreciated and loved. Gordon D Melville returns Fridays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on the InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. Until then, make it another great week, leading with love, powerfully designing, crafting, and living out your positively impactful legacy life you were created for. Big hugs.